Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sound Archives. My name is Christian Maiorino, and I am the host of this channel. And on today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is going back and taking a look at some of the videos that I did last year where I was reviewing new album releases. I'm going to kind of go through that list today and see if the rankings that I had back then stack up with what I have today. I'm going to Once I get this posted, I'm going to try to put links to those previous videos in the description so you can go back and take a look at those. So anyway, the first one that I reviewed on the Sound Archives last year was Detroit Stories from Alice Cooper. And when reviewing this one last year, I gave it a 3 out of 5-star rating. I gotta say, I haven't really listened to this album too much since that time last year when I reviewed it for the channel, and I would say today I would probably rank it probably 2.5 stars out of 5. I gotta say I really haven't listened to it too much. There's not a lot of songs on there that I really kind of want to go back to and listen to. I think probably the best track on there was the was it Social Debris. But even that song I wouldn't say is it's all right song, but not a great song. So today that's going to be a 2.5 out of 5. Next one I had Blue Oyster Cult, The Symbol Remains. So when I reviewed that one on the channel last year, I gave that one a pretty high rating of a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would say that still holds today. I still like the album a lot. I think it's a great addition to their catalog, and as you've seen, or you may have seen on the channel, I did a concert review for Blue Oyster Cult. Saw them a few months ago in the fall, and it was a good show, and it was great to hear a lot of the tracks from that new album at the show a couple of months ago. So, next one that I reviewed on the channel was I did a 2-for-1 with Sarah Thungle. I did the Forever Black, which actually came out in 2020, and then the EP Half Past Human, which came out in 2021, and I gave each of those a 4 out of 5 star. And I would say that today I would still say the same about those. I think my favorite track between the EP and probably even the Forever Black full-length album is probably Brutish Man-Child. Still probably my favorite song off of those. Next up, we had D. Snyder, Leave a Scar. So last year I give this one a 4.5 stars out of 5, and I said a 4 or 4.5, and I would say that one probably still ranks the same today. I think it's heavy album. I do still listen to it a lot, and if you haven't listened to it yet, definitely check it out. Next up, I reviewed Iron Maiden Senjutsu. So last year when I reviewed that, I gave it a 3.5 stars out of 5. Today I would say it's probably dipped a little bit. I would say it's a 3 out of 5, 3 stars out of 5, which is generous to a lot of the other reviews that have been out there. But then there's some people who really like that album. It's definitely, just reading up on any other reviews on other YouTube channels or anything just online, it seems to be a fairly mixed response on that one. Again, I still like the album, but I don't love it. You know, it seems like there's just these long intros to all the songs and everything, which, if they cut some of that down, maybe sped a couple songs up, it probably would be a much better album. But not bad though. So that one gets the 3 out of 5 stars. And then next on the channel last year, I reviewed KK's Priest Sermons of the Sinner. Gave that one a 3.5 out of 5, and I would say it's probably still the same today. That one was actually reviewed kind of later in the year. I believe I posted that back in December. So I think my favorite track off of that one, I think, is definitely Hail for the Priest, I think. But, the title track, Sermons of the Sinner, is, of course, another really good one. Hellfire Thunderbolt, also really good. It was good too. Hopefully they'll be touring for that sometime this year. I hadn't heard anything. Haven't heard anything yet whether they're going to go on tour yet. But of course, with the whole COVID situation, that it's still up in the air. I think with a lot of that. So anyway, that pretty much concludes the videos that or the albums that I had reviewed on the channel last year in 2021. Um, so there are a couple of albums that I'd like to go over now, which I didn't review last year, but there's a couple that I've definitely been listening to a lot. First one would be "Too Mean to Die" from Accept. Um, I think the album totally rocks. You have some really great riffage there from Wolf Hoffman. A lot of really catchy songs on there. I think probably "No One's Master" is one of my favorites. "Overnight Sensation" and "The Undertaker." I think those three tracks are probably my favorite. The title track is really good too, and the "Zombie Apocalypse" song is also pretty good. I did get to see them at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York, back in the beginning of December, and it was actually great to hear, a lot of tracks from this album, but then also a lot of the, the kind of the classic songs from the '80s era. And I think Mark Tinello too is a pretty good singer. I think his vocal style, even though it's similar to Udo, he doesn't sound like exactly like Udo. I don't think there's anyone out there who really quite sounds exactly like Udo, but that's a great one. I've been listening to Carnivore from Body Count, which actually came out in 2020, um, but I missed that one when it came out, so I just added that one to my library. That one's not bad. It has it. Jamie Jost is involved with that one, and I think it definitely sounds more like a Hatebreed influenced um, type of album there. I think my favorite track is on that one is "No Remorse," and I get a chuckle every time where Ice-T's lyrics is, I wouldn't piss on you if we're on fire, and if you were starving, I wouldn't feed you a hot bowl of shit. I don't know, I just laugh every time that I hear that one. And then maybe one of the really great ones, I like it more and more every time I listen to it, that came out last year, is "Persona Non Grata" from Exodus. Um, Exodus, I don't think ever disappoints. I mean, the album is a thrash masterpiece, I think. Prescribing Horror, love that song. What are some of the other tracks on there? Slipping Into Madness, that one's been getting stuck in my head, the title track. And then there's uh, Lunatic Liar Lord, and then that kind of acoustic intro with or the track that leads into it, Cosa del Pantano. It has that kind of like dark southern twang to it, but it's not like really. It kind of has that vibe to it, but then it just goes into the the ultimate thrash metal riffage right there. It's freaking awesome. I don't understand why. And I think I've heard this on another episode of another channel somewhere else, and someone commented that on the last Slayer album, Gary Holt played on that, but he didn't contribute any songwriting on that, which is really kind of a shame because he wrote most of the material on the new Exodus album. I think maybe if he had contributed some songwriting to that last Slayer album, I think it could have been a lot better. Not that it was terrible, but that was pretty much a Kerry King record, Repentless. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that one. So, well, that covers a couple of 2021 albums that I didn't, or yeah, 2021, even though one of them's 2020. A couple ones that I've been listening to that I really didn't get a chance to um, do a full video on last year. But anyway, coming up in the new year, there's some new releases that I'm looking forward to. We got a new Voivod album coming out, I believe, next month. So I'm looking forward to that one. I hope to do a review after I listen to that. And actually, just last night and actually today, I listened to for the first time the new Tony Martin album, and it's actually pretty damn good. And I'm probably going to be doing a full review on that one. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, definitely check it out. So anyway, that concludes today's episode. If you like what you saw here today, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And leave your comments below on any albums that you liked from 2021, some of your favorites, some of the ones you didn't like. whatever you got to say. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. And until next time, this is the Sound Archive sounding off.